Hi guys, and welcome to a new Christmas instruction video. In this video I'm going to show you how to make tiny little snowmen, which are going to be very cute, and they're also very easy to make. So this is nice as a beginner's project, or maybe it's also fun to do with children. Yeah, it's just very easy, so I'll keep it short and let's just get started. So I take a piece of clay like this and then I roll it in between my hands until it's like a nice little circular ball like this. And then I take another piece of clay that's a little bit smaller and I do the exact same. And then I just place it on top of here. And then you already have a snowman. But we're of course not finished yet. And I actually think that the top ball is a little bit too big. So what I do is just pinch off a little bit of clay so that the ball becomes a bit smaller. And then I roll it in between my hands again. I like to make the head quite a bit smaller so that it's clear what the head is and what the body is. And then this looks quite cute if you'd ask me. And then what I'm going to do is attach those two parts together. And for this I'm first going to use a needle tool. If you don't have a needle tool you can also just use a little knife or something. And I scratch the top part of the ball where I'm going to attach the other ball. And then what I do is I take some vinegar, I have vinegar in this little bowl here, and I apply this with a brush on top of the part that I just scratched. Vinegar will do something with the viscosity of the clay, not really sure what that means, but it will basically just make the clay very sticky, and this way you can easily attach different pieces of clay on top of each other. And I personally prefer working with vinegar instead of slip, but if you'd like you can also just use slip, both will work fine. And then we already have like a little snowman, but we of course are going to decorate it a little. I always like to make like a little Christmas hat, and for that it needs to be pointy at one side and like a little bit wider at the other side. And I just pinch that like this. So I pinch the clay towards one side so that it becomes pointy there. And to make it nice and smooth and also even, I place it on the table like this and then I roll over it with the side of my hand. Or with my fingers, just whatever you prefer. And just like that I have a little Christmas hat. Now the bottom doesn't look so nice and it's also a little bit too big. So I just take a little knife. This knife is from Extreme Tools, but you can use any knife that you'd like. And then I just cut off a part at the bottom and make that into a straight line. Then I smooth out the rim here by just tapping it with my finger because it's very sharp if you don't do this, and it also looks nicer when it's like a little bit rounded. And then I bend it a little bit because I think that looks quite cute. And then I take the snowman again and I place the head on top of it. Then I press it down a little bit to shape the head in the shape of the head. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, but like the hat and the hat. Kind of sounds the same to me, but it's a different word. Okay, and then I carefully take it off and I just scratch it with the needle tool again. Then I apply some vinegar and then I scratch it again with the needle tool. And then I place the head on top of the snowman. I put it a little bit to the back so that it's like, so that the snowman can like kind of look upwards, if that makes sense. Because I think that looks cute. I also like to make a little ball here at the end. So for that I just take a little bit of clay and then I roll that in between my hands again. And just make it into a tiny ball. Just like that. I just scratch this a little bit. Like it's very detailed work, but it is quite nice to do. And then I apply some vinegar as well. And then I like to scratch it again. And then I apply it to the head here by just pressing it on. And then I hold it for a bit so that the vinegar can dry. And then as you can see, it has the little ball on top of it, which I think looks adorable. I want it to hang down a little bit more, so I just bend it downwards. Carefully, make sure that the ball doesn't fall off. What I also like to do is make a little face on it. For that I like to use tools like this. This tool has like a little metal ball at the top. I also use this to sign my work, so when I'm making ceramics I often make like mugs and bowls then I also like to sign it, and I use this tool for that. But this tool is also great to make a little face on your little snowman. So I personally like to go for like a little basic face. So I just make 2 little dots, which are the eyes. And then I also make a little mouth by making like a smiley face with some dots, which is really easy, but I do think it looks really cute. Okay, it also looks a little bit scary, but it's supposed to be cute. But we're not finished yet, because we will also be adding a little nose, of course. Often when you decorate a snowman, you of course use a carrot as a nose. So we're going to do the same with this little one. So I just take a little bit of clay, really don't need that much. And I'm going to flatten this in my hand like this. I just roll it out and I press a little bit harder on one side, so that one side becomes a little bit smaller. And it is pointy, just like a carrot. Now it's a little bit too long, so I will just take my little knife again and cut off some of the excess clay, because I only need that little top. And then we are going to attach this nose to the snowman, and we will do the same thing like we did before. So I take my needle tool, I scratch it a little bit here in the center where I'm going to place the nose. And then I apply some vinegar, and then I scratch it again. And then I take the carrot or the nose, and then I just stick it on there. So I just press it onto the face. Now that I'm looking at it, the nose is quite long compared to the size of the head, but I do think it looks quite cute. It looks a little bit scary, but also quite cute. So yeah, maybe the eyes should have been a little bit closer together. And also the nose is not exactly in the middle. And then what I also like to do is make some little dots here at the body, so that it looks like you're like wearing a shirt or something. I now see that I have a little bit of slip sticking out here from the head, so I easily smooth it out and get rid of that by going over it with the brush. The great thing about making these snowmen so little is that you can just fire them like this, and you don't really have to hollow them out or something. When you're making something bigger, you have to make it hollow, because otherwise the clay is too thick and it won't dry, and then it will probably like explode in the kiln or something, which isn't great. So yeah, if you make them this small, then you can just put them in a kiln like this. But if you would make them a size bigger, you would have to hollow them out. But I think they are adorable to make so little, so that you can just place them everywhere in your house, where people may not notice them at first, but then when they're just looking around a little bit, they notice them all of a sudden, which looks quite cute, I think. And yeah, now I'm going to glaze them. I'm going to use underglazes, and I don't use a clear glaze when I make these little things. If you like, you can do that. But I kind of like the raw clay as the base color of the snowman, if that makes sense. And I'm now going to apply the underglaze on the raw clay, so the clay is still wet and it hasn't been fired yet. Most of the time I use underglaze after it has been basically fired, but with these little things I always like to just fire them once. And because I just fire them once, I also apply the glaze before I fire it, so that it does get stuck and won't come off. So I'm now just going to decorate it with some underglazes, and then I just let it dry like that and put them in a kiln like that, because I think that's just the easiest way to do it. But if you like, you can also just first basically fire it, then glaze it, and then glaze fire it again. And maybe also apply a clear glaze or glaze it with normal glazes and don't use underglazes. Whatever you'd like, but this is just how I personally like to do it. For the head I'm going to use this glaze, which is just a regular red. And then I also have bright orange, which I'm going to use for the little nose. And then it is ready to dry, and then you can just biscuit fire it or glaze fire it, and then it is finished in one fire. So that's really nice, I think. that was it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked it and I hope you maybe learned something new from it. If you're looking for more Christmas projects to do with pottery, with clay, you can take a look at my channel. I have a whole playlist filled with fun Christmas pottery projects, so I would definitely check that out. I also made a bigger snowman once, so if you'd like, you can check that out. And otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video. I wish you a Merry Christmas and I hope you have a nice week. Bye bye!